Congrats on making it to the end of day one. All I'm going to do is take a couple of minutes to quickly go over everything that we've covered so far. So we basically just set up our project. We modified our Gradle a little bit just to take into account this recycler view. We obviously had to add that in. Also modified our compile SDK version so everything is running in 27. We don't need to worry about this. That's no problem there. We started off in our activity_main where we just built up our layout. So it looks a little like this. We basically have our text view up top, we have a recycler view and a button. I modified some of the attributes there, so added stuff like gravity, modified some of the text attributes providing a color. Also, I set the constraints and the weight. This is kind of how we laid our items out, rather than using exact positioning through the use of these DP values. And this just helps our app to be a little more responsive when we're viewing it on different screen sizes. I also added a recycler view. This is the way in which we're going to display list items. It should be empty right now. We just specified stuff like the match parent width and height. And then again, the constraints. Our button, pretty much the same thing, just modified a few of the text attributes, set the gravity to center. Lastly, we have this on click, that is the button specific stuff. Otherwise, just added some colors, some constraints again, just to help it be positioned properly. We then set up our activity add item.xml. We created that simply by adding a new activity, should be up here, empty activity, and then we could specify both the activity name and the layout file. So in this one, pretty simple layout again. I just have the text view up here, an edit text. I have a little linear layout with another text view and the checkbox. I have a save button and a cancel button. This is what the code versions look like. Again, constraints, just some text attributes as well. In my edit text, I just added a hint rather than a text, but otherwise, again, just text attributes and constraints. My linear layout, I just set to contain these two items rather than having them outside of the linear layout, just because it's a little easier to specify their exact positioning, but again, fairly straightforward with the attributes there. And then my buttons were very similar to the buttons I built in my activity_main, just very slightly sizes and positionings, and I even used the same color scheme and everything. By the way, if you want to actually change these colors to be styles, or I think they're under colors, you can just create color names for them, so like pure black or pure white or something, because this is actually a pure black and a pure white, and then you can just call upon them just like we did with the string resources. Okay, so that's all we did there. We can go ahead and close these guys up. In main activity.kt, this is where we connected all the stuff that we set in our main activity layout. So we just added a to-do item recycler view so that we gain access to that recycler view we added, and also implemented this method to navigate us to the add item action, or the add item activity rather. In the add item activity, did a pretty similar thing. Added the variables we'll need access to, implemented them, or initialize them down here, then added two methods, one for saving, one for cancelling. The cancel action just takes us back to main activity. So again, that concludes the first day. Hopefully you have a pretty good layout that you're happy with for now. Once again, at the very end of this tutorial, so the end of day 5, we will kind of talk about some further modifications we can perform on this app to make it a little better and a little more interactive. And in fact, we probably will implement some of those modifications ourselves. For now, it's probably better just to stick to what's simple. Then once you get to the end of this, you're comfortable with how things are going, then we can start making things a bit more complex. So in tomorrow's activities, we're going to be setting up what's called our recycler view adapter. Now, this is actually going to take a little bit of work and can cover some pretty confusing concepts if you've never worked with recycler views or list views before. Basically, it's just going to be a way to implement how each item in our to-do list will look, so how it will appear in the overall list. We'll have to specify a new layout file for that. We'll have to specify certain and specific functionality for each item in the to-do list. And then either at the end of tomorrow or at the beginning of the next day, then we can start to actually add in some fake data and see how it populates the app and how everything is working. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys tomorrow.